Good morning to all of you. And I just want to very quickly recap what is required so far. So today, most of you need to send in your video recording. I have received a few video recordings and I have assessed them already. So I'm expecting the rest of the video recordings today. Somebody asked me, what is the deadline time? The deadline time is 5 o'clock this afternoon. So please make sure that you send in your video recordings. If your video recording is too long, then I advised some of you to break it up into parts. I will accept 2 or 3 parts of your video recording. So that's the first thing. And that is your first formal assignment, the video recording. The second one is the 10 questions that you need to prepare on the passage. That is your media assignment. Remember, the 10 questions are broken up into lower level, middle level, and higher level questions. And I've given you the guidance for that. Look at the passage that has been done, especially the one on Tobago's disappointment. If you examine those questions will give you an idea of how to formulate your questions for the passage on Miss Universe. Also, I've given you a sheet on Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy tells you which are higher level, lower level, and middle level questions, and they give you examples of the starting stems. In other words, how to start your questions. So look at those before you write your questions. Today, we're going to focus on worksheets. Now, worksheets are something that teachers always do in schools. However, many teachers have the wrong concept of a worksheet. What they think a worksheet is to copy a page from the textbook and make multiple copies of that page and give it to the learners. Now, that is not a worksheet. That is just copying from the textbook. A worksheet needs creativity on the part of the teacher. You must remember that a worksheet is given so that you enhance the knowledge of your learners. And how do you enhance the knowledge of your learners, right? So you need to think about how to prepare the worksheet so that it helps them to retain that knowledge that you wish to convey to them. And therefore, today, when we look at the worksheets, you will see there are certain things that you as the teacher need to do. So I'm just going to share the screen with you with the PowerPoint on the worksheets. So once more, as part of classroom technology, these worksheets are regarded as resources. And once more, I'm reminding you, when we talk about resources, these resources help us to make our lessons more understandable for the learners. It helps the learners to break down the learning material so that they can understand it properly. So what are these worksheets? They are printable documents and they're designed by the teacher to facilitate the learning content. What that means is that we make whatever information we are going to convey to them in that lesson, these worksheets are done so that we can make it easy for our learners to understand that learning content. That is the main purpose of the worksheet. It is not to just keep them occupied or to give them extra work. It should be designed in such a way that it makes that learning material easy for the learners to understand, right? They contain information. Worksheets contain information which help learners to understand the subject matter, to apply concepts, and evaluate their grasp of the topic under discussion. Right? That is the purpose of the worksheet. That is, they need to understand the subject matter. They need to be able to apply that subject matter to new situations, right? And they must be able to evaluate, to assess themselves. Do they understand this material or not? So the worksheet gives the teacher an idea of how well or how poorly that the learners have grasped that knowledge that you have given to them. Worksheets contain both graphics and texts. Now, by graphics, we mean pictures, right? It can be a cartoon picture, it can be a real photograph, things like that. Now, why do we say it should contain graphics as well in the worksheet? It is because visuals, when learners look at something that is visual, it sticks in their minds, right? Rather than a whole mass of words. So when you use visuals, like pictures, charts, all those things help to retain, it helps the learners to retain that information better than putting in a whole lot of words which they need to read. So worksheets contain both graphics as well as text, that is words, writing. So when you design a worksheet, I'm just going to look at the design of a worksheet now. Sorry about this. So worksheets need to be planned carefully. And this is the job of the teacher. You cannot just go and copy something from the textbook. You need to plan out the worksheet. You know what material you're going to teach the learners, and think about, how am I going to plan this worksheet so that my learners can easily remember what I'm going to teach them, right? And so the other important thing is, you must decide beforehand who's going to use the worksheet. Are all the learners in the class going to use the worksheet individually, or are they going to be put into groups? So that gives you an idea of how many worksheets to prepare, right? So the worksheet, you need to decide, is it going to be an information document? Is it going to have a whole lot of facts in them, right? Or is it going to be a problem-solving document where problem-solving document you normally give to groups, where they work in groups and they solve the problem in groups by relying on peer knowledge. That means each person contributes to the solution of the problem. Or is it going to be a combination of information and problem solving, right? Are you going to include graphics? You need to decide what kind of graphics or picture must I put. You must look for an appropriate picture that is related to the topic that is under discussion, right? Worksheets need to focus on the topic, and it must be relevant to the learner's understanding. That is important. That is very, very important. When you prepare a worksheet, it must be to the level of the learner's understanding. In other words, if you are teaching in a grade 8 class, you cannot give them a worksheet which you will give to a grade 12 class, right? Because it would be much, much more difficult for them to handle. So you always need to understand the level of understanding of your learners before you prepare worksheets, right? And as we have done in the assignment on media, you need to include if you're asking questions in the worksheet, you must ask questions of various levels. You cannot ask all level 1 or lower level questions. Then the worksheet doesn't serve much purpose. The worksheet must encourage thinking, critical thinking among our learners. And therefore, you have to use that Bloom's taxonomy where you set questions on various levels, right? And here we have some ideas for using worksheets in the classroom, right? Make your worksheets interesting. Don't let them be tools which learners view as boring, routine tasks, right? Now, what do we mean by this? Sometimes when you, as I said, when you copy things from the textbook, the learners are going to say, hey, this is just a repetition of the textbook. We still, and let's say if you're doing mathematics and you give them 10 multiplication sums on the worksheet. Now that is what we call routine work. But if you put in some interesting ideas, let's say you use an advertisement, a grocery advertisement, and say, help mom to draw up a grocery list and ask her and give her an idea of how much it's going to cost. So let's say if you put 2 tinned fish at 21 Rand per tin, right? So they have to work it out now. They'll look at the graphic, they'll put 2 tinned fish, 21 Rands times 2, and they put the total, and they'll draw up a table and calculate how much it is going to be for mom to buy the groceries for the month. So make it interesting and relate it to reality. The worksheets must be related to reality, like the example I gave you just now, right? So it must support the understanding of the learning material, and it should not become the learning material itself. So what this means is that, as I said at the beginning, worksheets are resources which support your lesson. They are not your full lesson. It is not something that which you're going to teach your whole lesson from. So it supports the lesson. It is a resource. Remember that, right? And it can be used to encourage discussion and problem solving. As I gave you the example earlier, it can be a very valuable tool if you are doing group work in school, right? A few pertinent questions can be asked in the worksheet where the learners are required to get into small groups and discuss it. It encourages learner participation. It's important. Somebody has their mic on, please mute yourself. Right, so it's important to create this learner participation, and worksheets help to do this, right? In a classroom, you are not the person that is going to be standing in the front and delivering a lecture. You are a teacher, and you must include the learners in your lesson. And the worksheets help you to include learners in your lesson, right? So you must engage them, right? And it lends itself, the worksheet will help you to explore the creativity of your learners. Don't give them mundane work like filling in the blanks, answering questions, and so on. Some of the things that you can do is to get them to actually draw things, create things on the worksheet, right? And this is how you explore their potential, the creative potential, right? And I spoke to you about the repetitive maths example where you give them 10 multiplication sums. Change it, right? Use your creativity as teachers. Right, so here in these slides, we have other ideas for creating a worksheet, like in history, where you can use cartoon pictures, right? We've given you some ideas in mathematics, in life orientation, and so on. So these ideas you need to read on your own and understand them. But the crux, the main idea is a worksheet needs to support what you are teaching in the classroom, right? All these slides that follow give you some ideas of how to create worksheets, right? So we are going to focus now on your assignment. Right, for your assignment, you have to design a worksheet for a life orientation topic for a grade 5 or a grade 7 class, right? But I think most of you would be doing the FET, the senior FET phase. I'm not sure if we have any students who are doing ECD, that means the foundation phase. I'm not sure, right? So we have given you the CAPS curriculum, right? If you don't know, the CAPS curriculum is the basic curriculum that is followed in schools for every subject. It lays out the work for the whole year for each subject in the school. So the CAPS curriculum is a very, very important document which you will have to go through, right? So you will need to create a worksheet, and your worksheet must contain a graphic, that means a drawing, a cartoon, or a picture. It must contain 5 important facts about your topic, and it must contain 5 important questions, right? Only 5 questions. 3 of the 5 questions must be on a higher level. So I will explain this entire assignment to you when I show you an example of how your assignment should look just now. So let me go back to the sharing of the screen. Okay, so here's an example of the worksheet that you will present, right? This is a life orientation grade 7. And the topic we're discussing is equality in sports, right? So all you need to do is get an appropriate graphic or a picture. So this picture, right, it shows people playing sport. But if you look at the first picture, you will only see the majority of the people that are playing the sport in this first picture. You can see the racial profiling over here. It's mainly white people, right? And one black person here. So this is what it's related to the topic. We are talking about equality in sport, right? That is racial profiling. And look at the second one. My coach said, I run like a girl. And I said, if he ran a little faster, he could too. So this is also about discrimination in sport. This is gender discrimination. Here we have racial discrimination, and here we have gender discrimination. So you notice that these 2 pictures are related to the topic, which is called equality in sport. So your worksheet will begin with a graphic that is related to the topic. Now, where do you get these pictures from? For this assignment, you are allowed to get the pictures from the internet as well. You can take pictures from the internet for this assignment, okay? Now, this is just an example. You can't use the same example for your worksheet, right? I'm just doing it as an example. So that is, I'm just showing you how to lay out your worksheet. So the first thing you will do is to insert a graphic that is related to the topic. Secondly, there are 5 facts here in this that is related to the topic. So let's go through the facts. Women earn less than men for participating in the same code of sport, example, soccer, right? Which is true. Women earn less than men. That's discrimination. There are more opportunities to compete in professional sport for men than women. That's a fact. Girls and boys are taught that girls are weaker and boys are better at sport from a young age. In our school situations, we are always doing that, right? Girls are brainwashed from a young age to participate in girl-related activities rather than playing sports. Example, baking and cooking. That's what girls are supposed to be doing. That's what they are told. They are told that that is what you are supposed. So they have been indoctrinated from an early age, right? That they should be doing these chores rather than playing sport. And that is why we don't have so many professional players among the female gender. The media does not give the same attention to sportswomen that they provide to men. Therefore, large companies hesitate to sponsor sportswomen. So these facts are related to the topic equality in sports, right? Now, the next part of the worksheet is questions on this topic. So the questions: name 2 ways women are treated differently to men in sport. That answer for that can be taken from the facts. List 2 sports that women do not participate in frequently, right? Those are lower level questions. Look at number 3. Investigate why large companies easily sponsor men to promote their brand. So yeah, it requires the learners to do some research and think to find the answers. Predict what the outcome would be if men and women played together in the same teams. Here they have to give an opinion. They have to do a prediction. There is no answer here in direct. It is, you see, this is how we encourage learners to think, by asking this type of questions. Discuss how you would go about bringing equality between men and women in sport. Here as well, we are asking the learners to think about ideas of how to get equality in sports. So this is how you prepare your worksheet, right? This is a wonderful example of how to do the worksheet. Remember, there are 3 things: graphics, 5 facts, 5 questions. That is all you have to do for your worksheet. It's not difficult, okay? Now, what I want to do is to show you where you can get your topics. Now, the topics are normally in the CAPS document. So this is the CAPS document. So this is a life orientation. There's the heading, life orientation, senior phase, grade 7 to 9, right? So when you go, the CAPS document is a very, very long document, but you will have to know this document eventually when you are getting your, when you start teaching, and you'll need to know how to use this document to get your topics for your daily lessons, right? So look at here, it says annual teaching plan, right? So the term 1, grade 7, development of the self in society, that is the topic. Then the subtopics under this: concept, self-image, all these things that need to be taught under this topic. So these annual teaching plans are where you will get the topic for your worksheet, right? So I think the main topic is on this one here, substance abuse. That is on page 14, substance abuse, health, social, and environmental responsibility, substance abuse. You are required to create a worksheet on substance abuse. It's not a difficult topic. It is something that you can find quite easily, even if you don't have the textbook for grade 7 for life orientation. There's a lot of information on the internet as well. So your task, therefore, is to create a worksheet on substance abuse, right? Where you have to have a graphic, 5 facts, 5 questions. 3 of the questions must be on a higher level. It must be higher level. right? So look at this on page 14, right, of the CAPS document. And this is their week 1 to 4 substance abuse. That is what you will need to look at to get your topic for your worksheet. Okay, so the worksheet is quite a simple exercise. I think I'm just going to show you one other worksheet. Okay, there's another example. So I will send these around to you. So there's another example. It's a mathematics grade 7 graphs, right? So here they're talking about the water level in the Val Dam. So this article was taken from a newspaper. So this article are the facts for this worksheet. There's the graphics showing the 2 different water levels of the Val Dam, where it's low water level and high water level, right? And there's the graph, which forms part of the graphics for this worksheet. And there are the questions that you have set on this worksheet. So you see the same pattern: facts, graphics, and questions. That's how you create the worksheet, right? So I will send this document to you as well as the example worksheet that I have shown you. So it's not a difficult assignment. And you will have to do it in Word format, and you will have to send it through to me via email, right? You will email your assignment to me. So the first assignment that you'll email to me are the 10 questions that you are drawing up on the passage on Miss Universe. So that assignment, you don't have to send me the whole thing, just send me your answer sheet. But please bear in mind, when you're sending your assignment, make sure that you have your details on the assignment. That is your name, your full name, student number, and please put group 12, right? So you will email that assignment to me first, and then you'll email, or you can actually email both assignments together. You can email the 10 questions and the worksheet together if possible. If it's not possible, you can send it to me separately too, it's fine. Okay. So do you have any questions?
No, it's clear.
Okay. All right. So if you don't have any questions, you've got a weekend of assignments to do.
I've got a question.
Yes, Kaliswe.
I didn't get it clearly. I just want to know, is it compulsory to get the topic from the worksheet, or you can even create your own?
Now, you've got to use that one that I showed you on page 14 of the CAPS document that is on substance abuse. You can create a topic. You can create the topic under substance abuse. You can create your own topic.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, before I end this meeting, I just want to know from you, can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself. Are all of you following me? Am I clear enough for all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So I will expect your video recordings today. There's about 18 of you that still need to send in your video recordings, and then your assignments are due on Monday. So I will send you the recording of this Zoom meeting, as well as the information for the assignment. And I will send you the program for next week as well. So you know in advance what we're going to do next week. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.